there's another time when my parents, it's same at 49 Miami Drive in Independence City. We were playing inside the yard, and I remember my parents specifically saying, "Don't leave the yard." Okay, so we all at a gate. It's a gated neighborhood, and everybody has a fence and a gate. And so, my parents say, "Just play in the yard. Don't go outside the yard." So I followed instructions, and I'm there playing in the yard. But then my ball rolled out into the yard. And when my ball rolled out into the yard, I'm thinking, out into the street rather. And so, of course, like a kid, I went out there to get my ball. And when I did, there's a sport that's called cricket. You may have heard of it. Well, what they don't tell you about cricket, it looks kind of like this little easy thing to do and everybody's wearing white. But actual cricket is played, the actual ball is made out of cork and tar. It's like somebody throwing a rock at you. It is really, really, really tough. And so when I went out in the street, these boys were out there playing, and all I remember hearing is, "Don't throw the ball, there is a kid." Wham! Right in my mouth. It knocked out all 5 of my teeth instantly. I looked into the ball and I could see 1 or 2 of my teeth were stuck in the ball. That's how fast the kid threw the ball. I don't remember if I went down or not, but what I do remember is that how painful that was. And that's how I knocked out my 5 teeth. Now the story later on is when I was in the first grade, I was entering the first grade, or I was in the first grade, I can't remember, but at that time I remember my aunt taught at the local school. Interestingly enough, my aunt was a teacher, and so twice in my life, both in the first grade and the third grade, my Aunt Barbara actually was my teacher. And so when I went to school with all my teeth missing, kids are brutal. So they start calling me Mash Mouth, okay? Mashed mouth. And, so they're gonna go, "Mash Mouth, Mash Mouth." And of course, as a kid, that's pissing you off, right? So basically, it was hard enough actually being picked on by those kids. But then when in our class, they used to have this thing called I forgot what it's called, but they're calling attendance basically. And so they just say the name to make sure the kid is present, and you'd answer present. So if they go George Bush, present miss, okay, Tom Cruise, present miss, Nicole Kidman, present miss. So they're saying that you're there, I'm here in the class, and the teacher would check off the attendance sheet. And so when the teacher got to me, instead of using my name, she went, "Mash Mouth." And of course I wouldn't answer. And she did it several times and I wouldn't answer, and then I got punished for that. And so then I went to my aunt and told her, I said, "Look," she's like, "Well, why aren't you answering?" I said, "Well, because she's calling me names." And I said, "Well, what is she calling me?" "Well, she's calling me Mash Mouth." And my aunt dragged her ass down to the principal's office and actually took care of that, and she never called me that again. So those are my 2 little stories from actually when I went to Independence City Holiday School, and also when I lived in Independence City. Stay tuned, I'll have another segment for you.